We have Ethereum versus the dollar, and we have new all-time highs, and this is one of the more strong ones within this market right now, as it does test 47.57 at the recording of this video here. Anyways, what happened yesterday on the weekly closure? We closed on new all-time highs. More importantly, we also closed above, well, we've been closed above the prior range highs, the breakout resolution highs above 4,000. So I am macro bullish on this one, mostly based off of actually our Trollinger Band charts over here, best seen on the monthly, which has been trending above the top side Trollinger Band, which does imply that we have trend. In this case, trend continuation to the upside. We have volatility with closing above the top side Trollinger Band, and we have momentum as well. If we do look at momentum oscillators over here, which I actually did not already have up, but we do see that monthly stokes are crossing the upside in the bullish control zone. Anyways, to speak about the macro on this one, I would be looking at the monthly right here, and we can plot a bit of a fib extension coming out of the prior macro base. And that would be having, as well as a formation target all the way up to about the 1.618 Fibonacci extension, which is at around 54 to 5,500 or so. And I would be looking for a pullback around that region, assuming that it does get there on a continuation drive, perhaps later this month of November. So again, I would be looking for a pullback from that region. I wouldn't necessarily say a macro reversal from that region, just a pullback, consolidate, and then very likely try again, perhaps to the upside, if the rest of the market does allow for it. But for right now, that's kind of how I see the longer term. I think the weekly is also, no, it is not trending above the top side Trollinger Band, but will be if we do close this week above 4,900 or so. So that'd also be very, 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 very good for just long-term continuation here. If we go into the short-term timeframes and come up with some areas of interest, I would invalidate short-term bullishness with a full hour closure below about 46.20 in this case, and I would invalidate weekly bullishness. Wow, this one going to be quite difficult on a weekly to invalidate for the time being, but it would be much lower at about 41.50 or so for that. So as long as Ethereum's above that, I just look at this as trend continuation. Yes, obviously it's very aggressive right here, as well. Probably not the point of maximal entry, but I do want to highlight this as well. Weekly BBWP is coming off the lows right here. It reached a level of 9.5 percentile, and expanding from there. I mean, that's actually the lowest we've ever seen weekly BBWP ever on this one. The last time that we saw anything even really comparable was back on over here in October 2020, and that was leading up into this region right here, and this run starting at about late October at about 375 for the next 126 days, rallied up 431%. Didn't even really reverse until it got all the way up here, which is almost, I mean, this is just ridiculous. Look, I'm not saying it's going to do something like this, but just give an insight as to the severity of what these moves could potentially put in over the next 200 days, almost put in a move almost of 880%, which is really, really impressive, actually. All jokes aside, we also did have hidden bullish evidence, which we identified on the weekly a couple weeks ago. So we're just kind of seeing a lot of these things follow through. So if you are watching these videos at a later date, understand that, a lot of this was like set up well and beforehand. Very short-term timeframes, like an hourly, I would be looking for a pullback, if we do see a pullback, I'm looking somewhere right around about 46.50 or so. Again, I would not invalidate short-term bullishness, especially as long as you're closing 4-hour deltas above 46.20 to 46.30 or so. That looks, more or less good to me. And of course, there will be pullbacks. I mean, I expect this market to get very, very volatile here. But for right now, all timeframes are trending. So, let it be as it is. And hopefully that's helpful for Ethereum.